Okay boys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I will be going over the most used / most meta cards on FIFA 22. Now I can't include every single meta card as that'll take too long, but if we hit 800 subs by Friday I'll drop part 2 of this video where I'll go more in depth with each player, what makes them so good, what to look out for in future releases, things like that, so you have a better understanding of cards you want to be looking out for on the market. Really quickly though, before we do jump into the video, please make sure you subscribe to the channel as it helps me massively. You can also drop a comment down below suggesting any video ideas you would like to see in the future. I always read every single comment I get, and if you suggest me an idea that I like or I think would be a great video, I'll make sure to give you a shout out in the next one. Okay boys, so starting off with goalkeepers. Now I have got some higher end, some mid tier and some lower end goalkeepers here. Starting off with the higher end, we've got Team Donnarumma. I guess you could class him as a mid tier because he is only at like 200,000 coins, but I guess that is still quite expensive for a goalie. Great goalie, very meta this year. Same with Yashin, he's very expensive. He's like 600-700k I think, and he's very meta this year. He feels pretty good in game. He makes a lot of saves with his feet, which is pretty cool. Van der Sar, always been pretty meta. Ter Stegen's a bit of a weird one. It's a card that I've tried and I did really enjoy him, which is why he's made the list here. Same with Petr Cech, one of my favorite goalies this year that I've used. He's in my main team. He's been in my main team for about 700-800 games now, so I'm absolutely loving that card. Now moving to the more mid-tier cards, I've got Maignan's Winter Wild card. I think is about 80k. Honorable mention Mendy and Team of the Week Szczesny. All three of them are pretty tall goalkeepers, pretty meta goalkeepers, because essentially this year what you want is a goalkeeper that's quite tall, and you should be good, to be honest. As long as he's got some decent stats, he should be pretty good. Now finally moving on to the lower budget teams, you've got Dudek, got team I think third in form Lafont if I remember correctly, and second in form Martinez. Now these three they're okay. They're not going to be the most insane. Obviously they're there for the lower budget squads. If you're looking for a budget keeper that's pretty good, you could always go with normal Donnarumma or normal Mendy, someone like that who's a lot cheaper. I personally think that all the goalkeepers that are on this list here, they are all the best goalies in the game at this current moment in time. Obviously things could change with moments and whatnot, but you never know, maybe they release some pretty cool goalies. That I know a lot of people like the likes of Player of the Month, De Gea, things like that, but I personally prefer these goalies here. Okay boys, now moving on to centre backs. Now there are a lot of different options, and I know I'm gonna get absolute flamed in the comments for probably missing out a few, but starting things off with the most expensive ones, we've got the likes of Prime Maldini, Team of the Year Marquinhos, Team of the Year Ruben Diaz, LaCroix, and Flashback Varane. Now these 5 I believe are honestly the best higher end, most expensive centre backs in the game. Now of course you have the likes of Road to the Final Kimpembe, his gold card as well. They're both insane, but if you're trying to take your team to that next level, I do believe that you need someone like Maldini, Marquinhos, or Ruben Diaz. You see, the things with these centre backs is it all depends what your team is around them. You can always play one taller centre back and one shorter centre back that's quicker. For me personally, I like to do that. I like to have the likes of Laurent Blanc next to someone with pace. So for example, I think at the moment I am using Cordoba next to him, so I have the added pace with a small guy, and then I have the big man that's better at the base defending and heading, and then I like to surround them with good fullbacks, but we'll get into the fullbacks in a minute. Now when it comes to mid tier, you only really have a couple options. You have Sula if you completed as SBC, you have Koundé, honorable mention, you have William Saliba if you completed his SBC, Ndika, Tomiyasu, Konate, Laurent Blanc. I believe any version of Laurent Blanc is amazing, and David Alaba. Now they're my picks for the mid tier, just because a lot of them I feel are quite strong and defensive. You don't always have to have the most expensive team for it to be good. As I mentioned before, you can use Kimpembe, and Kimpembe is ridiculous this year. But I'm going to move on to the cheaper end of things. We have I believe second in form Upamecano. Winter Wildcard Collins, we have Kimpembe's Gold card, and Team of the Week Akanji. Now, with Collins and Upamecano, I believe it's a great partnership. There's so many links that you can get there. Yeah, there's so many good Bundesliga players this year, and especially with Collins having like 89 pace, that's ridiculous. They're my choices for centre-backs. Let's move on to the full-backs. Okay, boys, so moving on to the left-backs, I have gone for a bit of a higher end, again, middle end, and then only have 2 lower end left backs, as I feel that you do need to have like some sort of coin spent on your left back and right back this year, as they are quite important going forward and on defense. So getting into it, we have Team of the Year Cancelo, Prime Roberto Carlos, I believe that's Road to the Knockouts Robertson, Maldini, and I believe Tellez is the last higher end one. Now with these cards, it's a bit difficult to say without you trying them, but using someone like Team of the Year Cancelo or a Prime Roberto Carlos, for example, you're going to see a massive difference to, say, someone on the lower end of the category like a Cornet or an Acuna or something like that. Now, with these cards, it's quite important that you find someone that can not only defend, but if they catch themselves going forward, they can also pass. Some people like to have their left back have a right foot, some people prefer a left foot. It's all up to personal preference. I personally don't mind as long as my fullback is good defensively, because I don't find myself getting caught out with my fullbacks that much. Okay then, so moving to mid-tier, I believe we have 3 on the mid-tier, and that is Winter Wildcard Delane, second in form or first in form Theo Hernandez, and Road to the Knockouts Renan Lodi. Now these 3 I believe are the best mid-tier left backs in the game. Some people would argue there's a few different left backs, but I personally think these are the best 3 that I've used this year. Now with the lower end left backs this year, you only really have a couple options that I feel are still meta. Acuna, who you could also play at centre mid if you really wanted to, depends on how you set your team up, but I think he's still good as a left back. He's not as quick, which kind of sucks. I wish he would have had like 90 pace, where he's still pretty good. And we got Cornet, who is very solid this year. Every time I seem to match him, he seems to just absolutely put me in a box. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about this card, but there's a Premier League link. And then Tanganga's SBC, if you did complete it, obviously he had a left back or a right back version. I've got both of them on separate accounts, and I don't know why, but he seems to play a little bit better at the left back spot than he does the right back spot. They're just honestly my best picks that I've got for left backs on this game. And let's move on to the right backs. Okay, so moving on to right backs. Now, again, same categories as before. We've got Carlos Alberto, Cafu, Hakimi's Team of the Year, and I believe they're the 3 most expensive ones. The rest are quite cheap to mid. So with fullbacks, as I explained last, essentially what you want to do is you want to focus on someone that can get up the pitch, get down, defend, all that kind of stuff. I think Hakimi's Team of the Year is very good, yet he does lack the defending. He seems to get way too far forward for me. So that's why I prefer someone like Dest. He kind of comes back a bit more, things like that. So for the mid tier, we've got Dest, Darmian Showdown, Traore, Nelson Semedo, Azpilicueta. Now these cards, and Mbabu, sorry. Now these cards are pretty solid for what you're paying for. None of them are above 100k, I don't think. So you get your money's worth, and as you can see by the stats, you know, they can get forward, they can defend, all that kind of stuff. Then for the lower tier, we've only got 2. We've got Atau and Florenzi. Again, very well-rounded cards. I mean, Florenzi's basically in the Hullet gang, same with Atau. So these are my picks for the right backs. I believe they are the best in the game. And let's move on to the midfielders. Okay, so with midfielders, we have a few more Team of the Years added to the count. We've got Jorginho and Kante. I mean, it's Team of the Year Kante, Team of the Year Jorginho. We both know by now that they are some of the best midfielders in the game. Some recent releases, which I've been finding a lot of these future stars are making it into the most meta players. We've got Jude Bellingham, Pedri, Wirtz, Gravenberch for the higher tier, as well as Ruud Gullit mid, which I've had the privilege of playing with this year, and he is very fun to use, very good at cam, very good at CDM, and even as just like a central centre mid. Now the thing with like your midfielders, you always want to have at least one defensive midfielder, because the defense in this game is a massive part of your gameplay. There's a lot of aids this year with bounce backs and things like that, so it's very important that you build up your midfield with someone that can, maybe you have one player that goes forward, maybe you have one that stays back, depends what formation you play. I always like to have a formation that has 2 CDMs, it just makes me feel a little bit more secure. But for our mid tier, we have Havertz, Fofana and Aouar. Now Aouar is a very solid player all around the pitch, but I have noticed that sometimes his defense is a little bit lacking, which is why I put someone like Fofana in this. Fofana, although he has high, he seems to be very solid defensively. Now you can get any version, I've just gone with the player of the month one because that's the one I've got in my club. And then Havertz, I recently got him on the Cruz de Gloria account, and I can safely say he is one of my favorite cams that I've used this year. He is very fun to use. But last not least, we have Chaloba's CDM card. Now you can get it for free. I believe there's still like a week left on it, so if you guys see this video and you haven't done him, make sure you go and do him. Even if it's just for fodder, you can get an 85 rated card, an 83 rated card, and an 88 rated card for free just by playing the game. It doesn't take that long, and from what I've used of him, he seems pretty fun. And surprisingly, he's got a good shot on him, so he's pretty good going forward as well. You guys already know about the most expensive guys, so let's jump on to the right wing. Okay, so with the right wingers this year, there aren't too many high-end options. Now we've got the likes of Garrincha, we've got Ferran Torres, we've got Salah and Messi. They're like the most expensive ones this year. And then, I mean, Messi's amazing, obviously. Garrincha's very good this year. Salah was very good at the start of the game, but since they've nerfed finesse shots, I have noticed a lot of people stop using him, but I still do think he is very good. Now with the mid tier, we got players like Ziyech, we got Flashback Mahrez. That could be any version of these players, by the way. Other than Ziyech, actually, because Ziyech, I feel like his inform isn't as good as his moment. And then we've got Verdi, who is basically the fat Insigne, but we moved. And he was an objective. Ziyech and Mahrez were SBCs. And then we got Trincao, who's again a player that surprised me. I'm still using him on one of my accounts, and he's been pretty good so far. Then the last, I say high-end player actually, is Dembele, rule breaker. Even though he's got less pace, I feel like because he's got that added shooting, he's way better. That's one thing that his his gold card does lack. And then moving on to the lower tier, I have got Llewellyn and Anthony. Now Llewellyn was an SBC and I debated whether to do him or not, but I did in the end. I've played him right wing, left wing, striker, all sorts of positions, and I can safely say he's pretty good on the ball. He doesn't feel too quick though, which is a good thing. And the same with Anthony. And I believe this is, again, the most meta right mids / right wings on the game. Now, with the left wingers, we have the likes of Neymar in form. That could be his flashback as well. Ronaldinho's prime. Raheem Sterling. We have Vinicius Jr., Ginola, Brahim Diaz, who's recently got the transfer to Liverpool, Diogo Jota, Gakpo, Carrasco, and Nunes. Now, a lot of these cards, I'd say is more meta because I have tried most of them. Now, obviously, I haven't tried Ronaldinho, but I've used him in draft, and I know that he is very good. And the same with like inform Neymar and that Vinicius Jr. But I've used other versions of these cards, so I can safely say that I know that these cards are good. I know that they're meta, and I know that if you guys are looking for a new left mid, this is one of the players that you need to go to. Okay, so for the final position of the video, we have strikers. Now, we have obviously the obvious ones of R9, Team of the Year Mbappe, Johan Cruyff, Puskas, Eusebio, Neymar, Ferran Torres, Griezmann. Now, we also chucked in Ben Yedder, Gareth Bale's road to the final, and Morales' winter world card. Now you might be thinking, okay, calm down, a lot of these cards cost a lot of coins. I'm aware of that, but I couldn't really find any super meta strikers that aren't expensive. So the only one in here that I think is for a lower to mid budget team, maybe a lower budget team, is Morales. For a middle budget team, you're looking at Gareth Bale, Ben Yedder, and Griezmann. Now I think Griezmann's expiring in a few days, and I think Ben Yedder's still got a few weeks on him, so you should be good with that if you're looking to grind out the brand new SBCs for fodder and things like that. This is honestly the best attackers on the game, striker to centre forward, whatever you want to call it. I believe that each and every one of these players have their own aspects of the game that brings it in and makes the game more enjoyable to play. Okay boys, so that's the end of the video. I hope this video did help you choose some new players to add into your team, all that good stuff. I mean, I know I missed out quite a few players that definitely could have made this list, but I did try and focus on more the higher end players, as we're getting towards the time of the year where people start upgrading their teams to bigger and better things rather than actually using pure just cheap meta players. Obviously there was the silver promo and all that, silver stars promo, which is currently still out as of the time of me recording this, and FUT birthday drops tomorrow at 6 PM. I'm gonna try and drop this tonight, so hopefully this is out within the next few hours of me recording this. Anyway guys, if you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff helps me out massively on the road to 800 subs like I said before. And thank you again for 5.7k views on my last objective video on icon swaps, and hope you guys did enjoy. If this did help you, like I said, drop a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.